Hello grade 10 and welcome to a new reading comprehension lesson. We are still in the theme of environmental issues and our lesson today is called Tumors Linked to Sewage. First of all, a tumor is an unnatural growth in the body which sometimes could be deadly. Something like what you see here in this turtle. Okay, this here is a turtle with a tumor growing in one of its eyes. Okay, let's see what that is caused by. Now, turtles living in the seas are affected by rampant pollution caused by careless human behavior towards the environment. We all know the reasons behind pollution in the sea and the oceans. First of all, the most obvious one is plastic pollution. The sea is full of billions and billions of microplastics, little plastic particles that have been diffused into the sea for many years now, carelessly. Another reason behind sea or ocean pollution is oil spills that come out of some ships and tanks in the ocean. Finally, the topic of our lesson, sewage dumped into the seas and the ocean. Sewage is refuse water, dirty water that comes out of homes, industries, farms, etc. And this has a major effect on the marine life and on the ecosystem in general. Let's first begin with the two reading skills you will learn for this lesson before entering into the lesson. Okay, two very important reading skills today, all present, of course, on pages 15 through 19 in your ebook. Of course, those are pages straight from your ebook. First is patterns of organization of paragraphs. Now, as you know, in a certain paragraph or in a text, the author organizes their ideas in a certain way. Okay, a pattern of organization refers to how information is organized or structured in a certain paragraph. The author uses different patterns to organize his or her ideas in different paragraphs depending on his or her purpose, depending on what they want to tell us. Let's take a look at this example here. Jacob worked very hard during that time period in order to finish his degree and become a computer engineer. Because of his perseverance means determination and willpower, he graduated from college with high distinction. What do you see here in this paragraph? What pattern? Okay, in the above paragraph, the author obviously uses a cause-effect pattern to show how Jacob's hard work, which is the cause, resulted in his graduation with high distinction, which is the effect. The key word was because. In such questions, you always need to tell me the keywords, and this shows this type of relationship. Now, the following is a list of patterns of organization used in paragraphs. They are generally 7. I will go through them in detail with you. The first pattern of organization that could exist in a paragraph is called exemplification, and as you probably deduced from the word, it means giving an example, presenting an idea, and giving an example, illustrating this idea with an example. Let's say an author is talking about a certain reason behind water pollution. He would say water pollution is caused by sewage dumping. For example, farms dump all their sewage in the rivers nearby every day. What is the author doing here? Illustrating his ideas by giving an example. We call it exemplification. Some people also call it illustration, idea illustration. Both are correct. You can use this term here. Definition, it's obvious. The author gives a term and defines it. For example, in the paragraph, the author would say photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants make their own food using sunlight. What is the author doing here? Definition. Okay? And of course, the keywords would be defined, means, refers to. There are always keywords and you need to tell me about them in your answer. Comparison. In comparison, the author is obviously showing a similarity between two concepts or ideas. Concepts are ideas, and uses comparison keywords like similarly, likewise, also, like, etc. Contrast, of course, the author is showing the difference between two ideas or concepts and uses keywords like but, yet, however, nevertheless, though, even though, whereas, while, etc. Moving on, cause-effect pattern. We talked about it right now, no need to go through it again, but you would see keywords like because, since, as a result of, due to, the outcome of, so, the effect of, this led to, therefore, consequently. The word consequently means as a result of. And then finally, number 6, listing and classification. This is a very popular pattern with authors. The author here lists 3 or more nouns, verbs, or adjectives. In order for the pattern to be listing or classification, all words in the list must be either nouns or verbs or adjectives and not a mixture. You can't say this is a pattern of classification or listing when you have one noun, one verb, and one adjective. No, they all have to be either nouns or verbs or adjectives in order for it to be classification or listing. This example will illustrate my idea. Doctors consider 3 main symptoms that indicate the presence of diabetes. Diabetes is high blood sugar. Constant fatigue, tiredness, dry mouth, and frequent urination. Of course, all those concepts listed, ideas listed, are nouns. So obviously here, the pattern of organization is one of listing or classification. You can choose either word. Now, finally, we come to time, order, or chronological order. The author here organizes his or her ideas in the order of time. This generally occurs in narratives when the author is telling a story. Let's read the paragraph together. As he prepared to dwell into the depths of the ocean, he first made sure all his life gear was present and working. Then he made the courageous leap and dived into the turquoise water. After that, he tried to pace himself well, steadily moving in a downward direction until he reached the endangered coral reef. He examined it for more than 3 hours until he was able to gather all the information needed for his research. Later that day, he entered all the data he had gathered into his computer and discussed it the day after with his colleagues. Take a look at the words in red. They are all time words. So this is a great indicator that this pattern of organization here is one of time or chronological order. Of course, you remember from last year when you see the prefix chron or chrono, it means something to do with time. Clearly, the pattern in the above paragraph is time order. The indicators or clues, if you want, for such patterns are many. First, then, after, 3 hours, later that day, etc. Sample questions related to pattern of organization. Generally, I ask it, or in the official exams later on, in grade 12, they would ask it this way. What pattern of organization does the writer use in the above paragraph? In the above paragraph, the author uses time order as a pattern of organization. He uses words such as first, then, later that day, and the day after in order to talk about what the scientist did during that time. Okay? Full answer. Now, credibility and objectivity. Guys, of course, when I give you those skills, you need to go back to your ebook, and you can also go back to the notes, the PowerPoint notes, which you can download and study them, please. And of course, when you answer the questions I give you, you go back again to your ebook and to the notes until you are able to master such questions. Credibility and objectivity. Okay, when you hear the word credibility, if we say that this person is credible, it means that he or she is trustworthy, you can trust them, and they are also believable. So credibility is defined as the quality of being trusted and believed. Now, writers want their work to have credibility. In order to do so, they need to add certain elements to the text. Those elements are called means of support, or if you want, supporting evidence. I want to write an article that water pollution is a huge issue on the beaches of Lebanon. I can't just say water pollution is an issue. I think that something should be done about it. This is something that makes me angry. Okay, but if you want me to believe you, if you want to have credibility, you need to add three major things, at least two of three major things. You need to give me, as a reader, facts and statistics, real life examples, and expert opinion on the issue. So those are the three major types of supporting evidence that the author uses to gain or to achieve credibility and objectivity. Those refer to the same thing. When you are an objective person, when you are objective, you don't put feelings and emotions, you give facts so that people would believe you. So, sample questions related to credibility and objectivity. How does the writer of the above text achieve objectivity and credibility? Illustrate with specific examples. Again, illustrate means explain by giving an example. Or, what means of support does the writer of the above text use to achieve accuracy and credibility? Accuracy also means the same as objectivity. It means to be correct. Give examples to illustrate your point of view. This is a sample answer from an article about early marriage in Bangladesh. The writer achieves credibility and objectivity by using proper means of support, or if you want, supporting evidence, such as facts and statistics, where she gave us statistics about early marriage among girls in Bangladesh, saying 29% of girls marry before they are 15 and 65% marry before they are 18. So, you told me about the fact that the author gives facts and statistics. Give me an example. It's not enough to mention it. Give me an example. 2, she also uses a real-life example, okay, someone who passed through this issue, where she talked about Sila, a girl whose parents married her off when she was 13 and died later that year due to complications related to abortion. Here I have another means of support, okay? Finally, the author also used the expert opinion of the forensics doctor. Forensics doctor is the doctor who examines corpses, people after they're dead, for a certain investigation, a criminal act, who examined Sila after her death and talked about the dangers of early marriage. Through these types of supporting evidence, the author achieved credibility, objectivity, and authenticity. Full stop. I know you see the answer is long, but it's pretty straightforward. All you have to do is study the three major types of supporting evidence: facts and statistics, real life evidence, and expert opinion or statements of authority from people who know a lot in the field. Now let's move on to our lesson called Tumors Linked to Sewage. Of course, we need to read the blurb first. In the text below, the writer explains how fatal tumors, deadly tumors, those deadly growths in the body, plaguing or hurting or haunting, if you want, green sea turtles for decades may be caused by pollution. Read the selection carefully and then work on the activities that follow. Paragraph 1. Nitrogen-rich runoff from sewers and farms is leading to a rise in invasive seaweeds that, when consumed by reptiles, may set off a herpes virus that causes deadly tumors. So, those sewers dumped by humans, you know, the dirty water that comes from, as we said, houses, industries, farms, it leads to a rise in this seaweed. This plant flourishes on sewage, okay? When consumed by reptiles, when eaten by reptiles such as, reptiles in the sea, may set off or may cause a herpes virus that causes, this herpes virus later on causes deadly or fatal tumors. The flower-like tumors, something like what we saw in the first slide, which can grow on a turtle's eyes, mouth, joints, and internal organs, have contributed to the decrease in the 1.2 meter long turtles, you know, those huge turtles, listed as endangered. They are in danger of becoming extinct by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Green sea turtles are found in the world's tropical and subtropical waters. Paragraph 2. In some parts of Hawaii where green sea turtle strandings, meaning they're stuck here, strandings, occur regularly, as many as 90% of stranded or stuck, dead or dying turtles discovered have been affected by the disease. According to a study done by or led by Kyle Van Houten, an ecologist, a person who studied the ecosystem environment, with the National Oceanic Fisheries in Honolulu. Honolulu is the capital of Hawaii. Wherever the turtle strandings occur, there is often evidence of sewage and invasive seaweeds, those sea plants. Why do we call them invasive? The word invasive means they do not belong there. They invaded the area. Van Houten noted, until now, however, hard evidence that pollution factors into the turtle's disease has remained elusive. Van Houten and colleagues, people working with him, analyzed human activities on land to calculate a nitrogen footprint for each watershed, an area that drains into a water body on the Hawaiian Islands. The team also studied 28 years' worth of data on green sea turtle strandings on the island. Comparing the two data sets, the scientists found that diseased turtles strand more in areas with high nitrogen runoff from agricultural sewers and cities. So when you take a look at the data, you see that obviously this sewage water is what's giving way to this tumor, what's causing this tumor through the herpes virus, because when there's a lot of concentration, when there's a concentration of turtles in that area, you find the disease more in them. These turtle tumor hotspots are, Van Houten said, the places that I wouldn't necessarily want to go surfing after a rain because of the nasty stuff that would show up in the ocean. You have all sorts of ugly things in the ocean, dirty things. Paragraph 4, scientists do not think the nitrogen-loaded runoff, nitrogen-loaded means this runoff or sewage water, that's what you can also call it, runoff, it has a lot of nitrogen, highly concentrated in nitrogen, causes tumors directly. It does not cause the tumor directly. Instead, there may be a chain of interaction that starts with a nitrogen-fed boom of non-native seaweeds. So this nitrogen feeds these seaweeds or plants that flourish on it in Hawaii. Nitrogen acts as a fertilizer in oceans. Some of you might know that in order for the garden to flourish, or if you have a piece of land to flourish, you need to give it nitrogen. So this seaweed is benefiting from the nitrogen, that's the huge amount of nitrogen in the sewage water, and it's flourishing. And so this is a main cause of oxygen-sucking algae blooms called dead zones. Okay, also algae, plant life in the water. They're blooming means they're flourishing and they're growing. Paragraph 5. Around the Hawaiian Islands, several seaweed species were either accidentally introduced or deliberately harvested for food crops and later escaped cultivation and spread into the wild. So we said that those seaweeds are invasive, they don't belong in Hawaii. Some of them were put there accidentally or because they were cultivated for food. In a way, they escaped into the wild. They went into the ocean and started blooming. For example, hookweed, native to the Mediterranean, which is the area we are living in, the Caribbean, the Indian Ocean, and the Philippines, okay, this is where hookweed was introduced in Hawaii in 1974. Now, paragraph 6, the seaweed absorbs the extra nitrogen and converts it to arginine, an amino acid. When turtles eat the seaweed, arginine awakens herpes viruses in turtles' bodies, generating tumors. It is possible that the non-native seaweed in Hawaii is better than the native seaweed at converting nitrogen and arginine to arginine, Van Houten said. Furthermore, because Hawaiian greasy turtles now rely on the invasive seaweed for food, so that this is their primary source of food, Van Houten suspects the animals are dosed with tumor-triggering amino acids at every meal. So this arginine triggers tumor-causing factors. Okay, triggers means start something. Finally, paragraph 7, Alonso Aguirre, a wildlife epidemiologist with the non-profit EcoHealth Alliance in New York, says, regardless of exactly how the tumors form, the turtles are telling us that something is happening to the oceans in a way that now we have to pay attention to. Okay, take a close look here at the conclusion where the author is warning us, okay, is making a call for action, and this is generally what the authors do in the conclusion. Now let's answer part of the worksheet together, okay, so that we can practice more and more how I expect you to answer on quizzes and tests. Answer the following questions in complete sentences of your own. Number 1, by referring to paragraph 6, what causes tumors in sea turtles? We just read it. When turtles eat the seaweed, arginine awakens herpes viruses in turtles' bodies, generating tumors. Number 2, according to paragraph 1, how have human activities harmed sea turtles? How have they affected them? Nitrogen-rich runoff from sewers and farms is leading to a rise in invasive seaweeds that, when consumed or eaten by reptiles, may set off a herpes virus that causes deadly tumors. 3. Give 2 pieces of evidence from paragraph 2 and 3 that show that human activity is causing harm to sea turtles. Evidence, that's why I displayed the paragraphs here for you, 2 and 3. Let's go through them together. In some parts of Hawaii where green sea turtle strandings occur regularly, as many as 90% of stranded, dead, or dying turtles discovered have been afflicted with the disease, according to a study led by Kyle Van Houten, an ecologist with the National Oceanic Fisheries. Wherever the turtle strandings occur, there is often evidence of sewage and invasive weeds. Okay, so this could be one piece of evidence that the human activities are what is causing tumors in those turtles. Paragraph 3, Van Houten and colleagues analyzed human activities on land to calculate a nitrogen footprint for each watershed. Footprint means the amount of nitrogen found, an area that drains into a water body on the Hawaiian Islands. The team also studied 28 years worth of data on green sea turtle strandings on the island. Comparing the two data sets, the scientists found that diseased turtles strand more in areas high in nitrogen runoff from agriculture, sewers, and cities, all human activities. So this is another piece of evidence. This is how I expect you to write the answer, of course. Even if I ask you to list something or to give me a piece of evidence, you always need to write it in paragraph form. Okay, not in points or dashes. We agreed on that last year, but I am reiterating this point this year. The scientists found that diseased turtles strand or are stuck more in areas with high nitrogen runoff from agriculture, sewers, and cities. This is one piece of evidence. Moreover, in some parts of Hawaii where green sea turtle strandings occur regularly, as many as 90% of stranded or dead dying sea turtles discovered have been affected by the disease, according to a study led by etc. Okay, so those are two pieces of evidence. You can also begin by writing two pieces of evidence from the text are, and you continue writing, but all in paragraph form, please. Moving on. Now, this is your assignment, B, C, D, and E, posted as a worksheet on the app, but also in the book, pages 25-27. But I want to go through them with you, B and C, especially. The D and E are very easy. B and C, think critically before you answer the following questions. Those are what we call organizational skills questions. Okay, the skills we just took. Number one, what is the significance of the title? Of course, by now you should know how to answer this. The title, Sewage, Sewage linked to tumors in titles, is a condensed summary of the main idea of the text, which is, write the main idea, please. Now, what type of introduction did the author use? Go back to the introduction. The type is so obvious. Remember, there are 5 types I gave you. The type is so obvious. How did he start? Now, I want you to tell me the type, give me the clue, and of course, 3 purposes. Why did the author use this type of introduction? The purposes are generally the same. Catch the reader's attention, arouse their curiosity, and introduce the main idea of the text, which is about. Okay, and this is it. Now, why do you think the author quotes, okay, why do you think the author quotes Van Houten so often in the text? Why? Who is Van Houten? He is an ecologist, a person who studies the ecosystem, so obviously he is an expert. Taking the opinion of an expert or quoting an expert is a means of support, type of supporting evidence. So the answer would be obviously a 1-sentence answer. The author quotes Van Houten so often in order to gain, full stop, you know the words. Pattern of organization, it should be very easy. Go back to the notes, check out paragraph 4, okay? And see the clue words that lead you to a pattern. Put the patterns in front of you, okay, and check out what it is. Now, here, this is a table. Copy the table, then skim through the text to fill in with the attitude of each party. We're going to go through attitude in more detail, so don't worry if you don't quite get this part now. But I want you to try. Okay, now, the attitude of each given party, those are the parties discussed, okay, towards the green sea turtle problem, provide clear evidence to your answer. Now, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, this is found in paragraph 1. I'm going to help you out on that. Tell me what their attitude was, what they thought about this issue, and give me a supporting evidence, okay? Now, Van Houten, what was his attitude about the issue of green sea turtles? He talked so many times in the text. Tell me from his word, where do we get an author's attitude from? From his choice of words, okay? Tell me what he thought about this issue and give me a supporting evidence. If you tell me he is worried, give me evidence from the text that he is worried, okay? So this is it. See you soon. hopefully, and please work hard on this worksheet. It's not difficult, but I want you to be diligent in the way you work in 10th grade, please. So take care and bye bye.